Hi, everybody. My name is Kai from KA Intuitive. If I look kind of weird on the screen right now, I don't really care totally. It's Veterans Day, 11/11/24. Um, and I'm really kind of just here to do some tarot because I haven't done it in a while and I felt like doing it. I'm waiting for my chicken to marinate for dinner tonight for my family. So I thought that this would be a really fun opportunity to kind of just pass the time. I'm a little bored. I don't have work today. I don't know what to do with myself. So I was like, well, I might as well get on here and talk about tarot. If we haven't done this before, if you haven't tuned into my channel, I typically do tarot readings, sometimes pick a cards. I haven't done it in quite a while, probably at least like 7 months, something like that. It's kind of one of those things like I kind of just do when I feel like it. Also, just like lately, like this year period has just been very trying energetically, not in a bad way, definitely all good things, but very much slow moving and requires a lot of energy. So my entire year, besides like some aspects, of course, but like my entire year has been like, there's been one thing as my focal point this year. So, and it's taken a lot of energy. And if you hear noises, excuse me, that's probably my neighbors and stuff trying to get into their homes. It's kind of like getting closer to the end of the day. So people are returning home. So you might hear some like screen doors shutting and things like that. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to shuffle these cards really quick because I haven't shuffled them since I used them this morning for myself. I'm going to be using the Wild Unknown Tarot deck as well as the Le Vampires Oracle cards. And then these guys, I don't know what they're called. It doesn't say it on here, but they're little like positive enforcement cards or something. So yeah, I have been using these cards a lot throughout the year, specifically for shadow work. That is what I use them for. I feel that the collective could use a shadow reading of sorts, right? So like when we do these, when we get into this reading, I would definitely suggest like calling in your shadow and understanding that this is like a conversation to have with them, with that aspect of yourself, them, that, they, I don't know, whatever. For me, like my shadow is myself, and me learning to integrate with all parts of myself, and even the parts of myself that I'm like, oh, why are we doing that? I don't understand that very much. It's like, okay, if we don't understand, then we kind of peel away at what is not being understood in order to understand, right? So every part of me deserves acknowledgement. Every part of you deserves acknowledgement. Not everybody's going to give that to you, so you need to give it to yourself. So, I don't know if I said it, if I said my name is Kai. I think I might have. Yeah, so I'm just going to shuffle these up a little, not a little, a lot. And we'll use these. The reason why, let me tell you the story about these cards in particular. The reason why I started using them as my shadow work cards specifically is because I freaking was so freaked out by them. There were specific cards in this deck that really would just make me very uneasy and very uncomfortable. And I would avoid these cards like straight up. I was like, I ain't using those. Those things suck. I'm scared. I don't like it. And then one day it just kind of dawned on me like, oh, I just haven't been using these, right? I'm trying to use every single, any tarot deck I get, I use like a tarot deck, right? But like some cards really just have a specific need or a specific like way of communicating. And in this case, this tarot deck didn't need me to use it like a typical tarot. It was very much like, you need to use me as a typical tarot, you need to use me as like a pinpoint. And so I felt very led to any card that I would feel, or any card that I pulled, I would pull cards one at a time out of this tarot deck in order to immediately start journaling about like my feelings that I would feel the moment that my eyes laid on that card. So like for instance, let me just, whatever, this card that just popped out. This is a good one to actually show. It's pretty dark. That's Ten of Swords right there. Ten of Swords, you're like, okay, yo, this might be a little darker than I'm ready for. Like if you're like me, like I'm like, oh, I don't, it's not that I don't like to go dark. It's just that when it's in my face like that, I'm just kind of like, oh shit, it's very jarring for me. But I realized like this deck led me to understand like when I pull a card like this, right? Or any other card in the deck, what are the emotions immediately that come up when I see this card? What are my first thoughts? Why does it make me uncomfortable? What about this card makes me uncomfortable? And then I would just free write. And in so doing all of that, I began to form a relationship with this deck that is very meaningful, and that I'm excited to share like method wise with the collective. And we'll see. Damn, man. We'll see how this makes you guys feel. I think that that's a great start, even though it wasn't like I haven't asked a question or anything like that. I do immediately have vibes about the Ten of Swords coming up as far as like cycles are concerned, as far as really feeling fucking betrayed, like the depth of betrayal that I think a lot of specifically Americans are feeling right now. I think that that's big. I think that that's definitely an energy that's at play right now. The feeling of feeling like, well, who do I trust? How do I trust again? Where do I go with these feelings? I think that those things are all valid and have a place. And it's actually kind of not lost on me that at the bottom of the deck is the Chariot, depicted as like this like free horse that just is so knowing of its own power. Wow. And then the Strength card as well, right underneath. Let me just show you guys. The Strength card right underneath, right? Yeah, it just feels like support regardless. But anyway, that like, I don't know. Maybe that's a card, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm not done shuffling, so that was just an example, but maybe somebody needed that. Yeah, but there's definitely like, I understand that there's a lot of different energies in the collective right now that we're sharing and breathing in and taking it in as our own, or maybe recognizing that it's not ours to take in, right? High Priestess, as I said that. Check out the High Priestess. That's like one of my favorite cards. But having boundaries, right, are big. Understanding that like things have to move in order to change. And like sometimes, blessings are in disguise. Sometimes things can look very like darkest before dawn kind of a thing. Wow. Again, right when I said that, boom, Hanged Man. So yeah, you guys, like we are cruising. We're cruising, just cruise for right now. I don't really think that there's really a whole big conversation right now with the guides, right? That, we really need to like react right now, or like have a plan, or like make a decision. If you feel so called to have a plan, if you feel like that's what you need to do, then absolutely, because this is a collective reading. This isn't like me and you right now. This is all, right? I don't really, for myself, understanding the card just now, I guess I have to talk about this, like, cause it's like, okay, boom, that was for a reason. I'm not really sensing or feeling like, oh my God, we got to make a fucking plan and we got to, it's like right now it feels like just let the cards lay, let the dust settle. Like you can't really see clearly anyway right now. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of shit to cut through. And right now, like, it's not going to just like make sense. It's too early. It's too early in the game to even begin to play, right? We are at the completion level. We have not begun the cycle. Like we have not walked into the next steps, right? Once we walk into that next step, then things will kind of become clear. So like right now I do feel this like need to kind of take a step back and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. that's really high on the priority list. Like whether it's like I need to take off work for a week, if you can afford that, like you need to take some time for yourself. And maybe it's not surrounding like the necessarily like the political environment. You know, maybe it's just like what's going on with your family right now. Maybe it is the political environment that started this push for your family or for your friends, but like you're recognizing that like I actually have outgrown these people, or, you know, I no longer wish to be a part of this belief system, or, you know, maybe we don't need to make decisions necessarily just yet, but there is a need to kind of like take some real time to reflect, to pause, to bring it all in, to observe, right? And to feel the feelings all the way before we just, because it, again, if we bring this back to like the fact that we're talking about our shadow right now, sometimes when we're in our shadow, when our shadow is being best expressed, we'll say when we are most expressive of our shadow sides, it can become something that we're doing very impulsively. We can be very impulsive. We might not know the full story or might not see the full picture, and we've already made a decision based on what we see rather than what we know or what we understand. And we haven't made we haven't had the opportunity or given ourselves the opportunity to really sit with what's going on. And that's really what it's being, I think, said and called upon out of us as a collective, whether you're a healer, a spiritualist, whatever, right? I think, or just somebody who's like, hey, I'm going to check out this chick with a bun on her head. You know, more than anything, I really do feel like this is a great time to just let go of the reins for a second. The Chariot card, when it did pop up, it was in reverse, right? Even though I showed it to you guys upright, I showed it to you guys upright because it was, I wanted you to see the actual artwork. But in my deck, when I looked down, it was reversed. And to me, that's really giving, by the way, you guys, like I'm an intuitive more so. So like, I might not say what you know the card to be. There's been times where I've like done a tarot reading and people will try to correct me as I'm doing a tarot reading. And I don't know if that's a microaggression. And people are like, oh, she's brown, so like let me tell her how to do her own shit, even though I just sat down at her motherfucking table. But people love doing that shit. And I'm like, okay. And I let them, because I'm like, you want to ruin your own shit, that's fine. You're going to pay me anyway. Go ahead. So have fun. But I don't read fucking tarot like, oh, the chariot means on Biddy tarot. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to read it how the energy presents itself. If that's what you understand, cool. If you don't understand that and you're like, fuck that, that's not what I know the chariot to mean, that's totally fine too. I'm not here to tell anybody what this is. I'm here to tell you what I see, which can be very different from what you see. It's all up for interpretation, right? That's what makes doing this type of work so interesting. But anywho, I don't even know what I was saying. I just had to say that, I guess. Oh, the chariot. So with it being up reverse, I really do like, I get the vibes of like, because I even noted, I think actually that I think I had said like, oh yes, it's a free, like it's like a free spirit and like I was like saying that, but the reality is like the chariot, when it's up, it was not upright, it was reverse, and how I saw it was more like not letting go to the saddles, but pulling the saddle back. Like, though it's a free horse and everything, there's no bridle on that horse. There was no saddle. I'm assuming there's not a saddle on that horse, that depiction, right? But there is a need to kind of like not react right now. There's a need to not move. There's a need to not move forward or backwards. It's just to remain steady, right? Stillness with dynamism is kind of the term. Stillness and dynamism. It's like learning how to move while also staying still. So that's very much like grounding, but allowing the mind to move. And if we remember, it is the 10 of Swords that we are accidentally talking about, but it's never an accident. It's just what needed to happen, I guess. I immediately am like, okay, you're challenging, ready, set, go. Like that, or challenging, channeling, like, here we go. But with the 10 of Swords, you know, like that's a total clusterfuck mind, you know, like swords anyway, like they rule the mental, we know. But with that 10 of Swords, if I look back at the card itself, if we look back, I don't know if I can find it again. I've shuffled it all up so far, but, you know, if we look at that 10 of Swords, I don't know if you guys remember, you can rewind the video if you need. there's a sword right through the eyes of that buffalo, of that ox, or whatever animal that is. I think it might be a buffalo. Actually, I think it might be an ox. If I think about the way that the horns were, I think it comes all the way over its head, not just horn, which I think is like more like a bison buffalo. And like the ox has more of that like whoosh thing, that like flowing horn. But anyway, I have ADHD. What's up? So it's straight through the eyes. And for me, it's like this understanding of like, just like you're so mentally buzzing and there's so many things whirling and so many truths being said and lies being said at the same time. It's hard to decipher what is what and where it goes. And, you know, you can't move while the mind is busy, right? You can't make a decision, a definitive one that is strong and like built in your intent, right? I'm sure that most of us have this intent to fucking make a decision that is badass and super strong and like we can stand on it and build on it, and you know, whatever those choices may be, whether it's like I'm moving away from this friend group or I'm moving away from like my family, I'm going to go out here and be the black sheep that I was always meant to be. Yeah, I'm going to go out here and break these fucking chains. I'm going to go, you know what I mean? This, that, and the other. It's sometimes really difficult. Like we want to set ourselves up correctly. And it's not always advisable when we think, again, bringing it back to shadow, it's not always advisable to react first, even if you feel justified. Even if there's actual justification in your reaction, it's not always what's best. It's what's human, but it's not always what's best, you know? So Spirit's definitely like cautioning on the desire to be like, you know what, I'm gonna just go, you know, I'm gonna fucking crash out, right? Like, I'm just gonna do it, you know? And Spirit's like, yeah, there's no need for that. There's no need. It's not necessary for you to make a decision right now. So anyway, that's that. I also had like a thought that kind of came through too when I was talking about, you know, you can take it, the Ten of Swords with through the eyes and all that stuff. You can be like, oh, well, like, you can follow your heart, you know, like quiet the mind and follow like what the soul says. And like, that's accurate. And I would definitely pull cards on that. Even so, that's still calling for silence. It's still calling for stillness. It's still calling for grounding. It's calling for space to be given before movement occurs, right? It calls for pause. That's the point. So anywho, let's see, it's already 17 minutes of oopsie channeling. I love that though. I'm kind of vibing on that. That's cute. That was definitely unexpected. I'm going to use our oracle cards just because I'm not going to now pull a totally different card because I don't want to run out of time. And I kind of want this video to be like relatively watchable. When it's too long, people don't give a shit, which I don't blame them. Same. So yeah, these are my little vampire oracles. Same thing. I use these for my shadow typically to speak. What does my shadow need to say? What's the conversation? They're really big. What's the conversation that needs to be had between all the village of me, as my friend likes to call it, the village of me, all the people, all the versions of myself. We have knowledge, study, learning, education. So this really goes like straight up into what I was saying about taking pause, taking space, chilling the fuck out for a second before we make any sort of judgments or actions against anybody or ourselves. I feel like there's this call on it too. Like any action right now would be against the self just because there is such a need to just wait. Wait, they don't love you like I love you. Wait, you know? And then the call of the night, daring, adventure, and excitement. However, this did pop up reverse, but I'll show you guys upright. All these look at all those little guides right there, all those little familiars. You got the wolf, you got the kitty cat. I thought I saw something else. Oh yeah, just multiple ass cats. And the full moon, right? But you see, my eyes go to the fact that it's soups cloudy still, right? Like that clarity hasn't come through yet. That clarity, everything, it's still building its momentum to become clear, and it will become clear. We just have to give it the space in order to do so, in order to breathe and exhale, all that shit. So that's a big one. Also, with all these little critters, I do feel that, very much, familiars, we'll use that term, right? Kindred spirits, kindred animal spirits, homies, our pals, right? I definitely feel like overall guides, period, whether animal or otherwise, are very much at hand, right? There's a hand in this that comes straight from them that they're like, yeah, for real though, like tap into us, talk to us, run it back to us real quick before you start talking to the living or you start talking to, you start making decisions like the guides, the ancestors, what have you, your elevated ancestors, your people are like, yo, like you haven't talked to me in a minute. So you need to take a seat real quick and like have this conversation because you're kind of tripping and it's okay. You're valid. You can trip, but like trip with us because you're safe here to trip. Like trip, cry, do what you got to do, scream, rage, whatever it's about. You can do that here, but don't do it over there. Yeah, we're waiting. The call of the night, right? The night of the soul. Like I said, that was in reverse. Damn, bitch. I didn't bring the book over here. I definitely want to get the book. Whatever. Just give me a second. I need to sit with this. Yeah, even the word like excitement. That's a word that like as a person I tend to forget is not always a positive thing. Like you can like excite something, like I would say, not to bring it back to the election, but like, how do I explain this? Like the word excite, I don't even want to bring it back to the election. It's fucking annoying. But there's this like, it's not that you can be excited about something bad. That's not what I mean. How do I explain it? Like, I forget that the word can mean like anxiety. Like excitement can mean anxiety and they can very much feel very similar. I suppose is what I'm trying to say. And so like perhaps, okay, I don't know who this is for, but perhaps there's like an addiction to anxiety. Oh, I'm sorry. But perhaps there might be some sort of like, because you're not panicked or because, you know how you can get like, again, let's remind everybody really quick that we're talking about our shadow, right? And so a part of that can be like finding comfort in the madness and finding comfort in things that are actually harmful for us that we should probably focus on moving away from. And also maybe putting too much emphasis on things outside of ourselves, right? Like the election. And I know it's not necessarily outside of ourselves. It has to do with us. I totally get you. But at the same time, we have to be able to, something that I've learned along in my life is that a lot of the times where I'm trying to correct other aspects outside of myself, it's because I'm running away from what's going on in here, right? And so there's this level of like, I don't know why it's coming out as like, are you addicted to anxiety? Like, are you addicted? Are you addicted? Addicted? Are you addicted to feeling fear? Are you addicted to being in fear? Are you addicted to your trauma, to your story of trauma, your story of anxiety? Like, are you addicted to this feeling because you don't know what you are without any of that, And so it's like going on that internal adventure versus this external, like daring and, like dare to ask, because the words are daring, adventure, and excitement, right? Dare to ask yourself the questions that make you uncomfortable. Dare to call yourself out, right? Again, full circle or full picture, right? We're talking about not necessarily making choices right here. Part of not making choices for me when I speak about it is I immediately see exploration, discovery. That's all adventurous as fuck. It's also very taxing. It can be, right? It can be exciting, but also very nerve-wracking. It can be, eye-opening, but also very like, devastating, because you're like, damn, how do I play a role in my suffering? I don't want to look at that shit. That sucks. But at the same time, like, baby, we got to do it, right? That's a part of the healing. That's a part of the journey. And so we can't ignore those things. And so I feel like that's maybe where, again, I just looked down and remembered that we also pulled the card knowledge, right? It's that inner knowledge, that inner study, inner learning, inner education, like understanding why we are who we are, what we are, and like kind of almost the word is redefining. That just kind of like bubbled up a little. The word is redefining and working on what that actually looks like, because we are entering a new season. We are entering a new chapter, quite literally, like calendarically. Derek. Okay. We're doing those things. Sorry. I think I need to do a rewatch of Grey's Anatomy. Just FYI. I love watching Grey's Anatomy. I haven't watched it in a long ass time, but when I was really going through a really darkness of the soul, I loved Grey's because it would allow me the space to cry. And for me, that was the safe space. So I'm going to just say it. Maybe that's why I said the word Derek. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. So we have a 3 and a 7 here too, if that's significant for anybody. Yeah. Oh, shit. And then a 10, I guess, if you add those two together, right? That's a 10. It's a 10. If you've ever seen that video, it's the guy that likes the ice cream taster. Anyway. Yeah. Like, it's like, okay, so the external world seems to be closing a chapter, but so are you, boo. So are you. And so, like, let's not lose sight of that. That work's not done yet. So you can't make choices right now. Not, you know what I mean? But like, you can, but they aren't as, self-realized or you know what I mean? Like, it's not as full and big as it could be, not as powerful and robust as spirit wants it to be for you, as I think that your higher self would want it to be, right? And so this search and quest for knowledge, pulling that more inverted and internally, right, will help balance the decisions that you make in the near future. Let's get one more card. Check out all different types of resources, by the way, like whether it's like in therapy, but I really do feel like it's like, yes, of course, therapy helps. I'm in therapy myself. But it is highlighting this very like, talk to your fucking ancestors, God damn it. Like, that's, like, I feel like they're kind of like there's like this level of irritation. Like, you know this. Like, so I don't know if somebody's been avoiding it or been like, I don't want to. The word is, and honey, baby, I'm very Saturn ruled. I'm an Aquarian sun and a Capricorn stellium, Venus, Mars, all that shit. So, I trigger people. I'm sorry. I'm a Gemini moon, Virgo rising. It's my job. It's what I'm here for. Not to trigger you in a way of harming, but a trigger in the way of like, look, like I say this because I love you, right? Stop putting it off. Like, you want help, then get help. You want to do something about the way that you're feeling, then like you have ancestors, you have guides, you have people that you're choosing not to tap into. And this isn't for everybody. This is like a select few of people that know better and are choosing not to do better. And I do feel a level of irritation there. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to, fucking love and light this shit to death, right? Like, get right. We need you. All right. So Spirit said, quit playing in my face. What is, I haven't even really, you know what? Apparently I didn't gotta ask no questions. Ooh. I forgive others of my flaws. Okay. Wait. What the fuck did I just say? I forgive others of my flaws. That's interesting because it's giving you point one finger and they point it back at you kind of a thing. It's giving, I see what I want to see. I see what I want to see, not what's there. That's like why we need to take more time to sit with ourselves so that we are seeing clearly. I forget I forgive others for my flaws. I forgive others for my flaws. Sit with that for a second. I forgive others for my flaws. I forgive. I don't even know what that would. I mean, I know it's like for most people listening would be like, oh, that was just a slip of the tongue. But for me, an intuitive, it's never just a slip of the tongue. Like there's always some other like energy that's trying to be like poured into. So anyway, the question is, how can I show forgiveness when I am badly hurt? How can I show forgiveness when I am badly hurt? Because you need to be looking at yourself. That's why I said that, honestly. That's why it came out. I forgive others for my flaws, or whatever the hell I said. Looking at, sorry that it's getting increasingly darker in here. Looking at how we, again, play a role in our own suffering. How can we forgive ourselves for the role that we play in our own suffering, right? How can I show forgiveness even when I am badly hurt? How can I show forgiveness even when I have hurt myself very badly? There's that emphasis. Like, I really strongly feel this push and pull to speak on very deeply how we cause harm with ourselves, or just this need to sit with the self before we decide it's other people, or before we decide that this is how we're going to fix it and it's outside of the self. If you're going to fix some shit about what's going on for you in your life and it has nothing to do with you, you're wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Because that's not what's being asked right now collectively. There's a huge push to sit the fuck down and think about it. Okay, I got two more. Maybe that's nicer. I release all negative thoughts today. I am powerful. I got these from my son, by the way. So I release all negative thoughts today. Again, inner stuff, right? What is weighing most heavily on my mind today? What is one positive thing I can learn from this situation? Where's the medicine? Identify where the medicine is within you. Again, we're talking about shadow shit, so that's also why maybe this is like a little more like, y'all need to do the work. Y'all ain't doing the work. You know what I mean? That's because we are powerful, because we are called to higher, right? Like that. Sometimes it just has to be said. What makes me feel empowered? How can I welcome more of those feelings into my life? Ow. All right, y'all. This is a 32-minute video. I'm going to go ahead and get off of this. I'm sorry if you never want to come back. I totally understand. It's not the most nicest thing I've ever done tonight. But you know, sometimes things just have to come out, and I don't really know why. But if anything, it is a labor of love, and we're all being called, I'm not separate, right? We're all being called to labor in this love for ourselves, and labor, it ain't pretty. It's bloody. It's painful. There's screaming. There's agony. There's bullshit involved, okay? So if you thought that it was going to be some slow, sexy ride, you fucking thought wrong. And that's like that's healing, boo. And so if you definitely want that, then you definitely need to invest in some true ass, honest work, because that's it. That's it. So thank you so much. Love and light. No, I'm just playing. But seriously, love always. Stand in the light, but also understand your darkness, boo, because it is necessary. There ain't no way that you can just run around here talking about fucking you're going to Bali and not doing any motherfucking work, okay? So I love you. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of what is yours to take care of. Leave the rest. Talk to your fucking people, to your ancestors, to your guides. Talk to them. Spend time outside. Ground. Do some root work, do whatever it is that you need to do that get right, but get right, honey, and don't make any decisions until it is truly, truly time, and you will know. You will absolutely know. All right, I'll catch you guys on my next one. Bye.